I am not easily inspired, but Jack Ma inspires me. I met Jack in Beijing many years ago. At our first meeting, we had a long talk, and it made me realize how special a person he really was. Jack started with nothing and has pursued one vision his entire life. You heard that vision. It's to connect the world for trade, for the benefit of small businesses, the little guy, as Jack says. Jack and his co-founder Joe are true global entrepreneurs. They set a very high standard for us. And they open our eyes to what may come next, which is what I'd like to share with you today. Connecting the world to make it easy to do business everywhere is a big vision. Look at a chart of the 20 largest economies in the world. We all know that the US and China are the biggest countries. But note how much larger they are than any other one. And look at the green bars. The green bars are the growth we expect to see in the next 15 years. China and the US are the two countries that by far have the largest green bars. So if we are going to connect the world to make it easy to do business everywhere, China will have to play a big part of it. In our industry, the internet, China is already quite important. Every year, Mary Meeker creates this amazing internet industry overview for the rest of us. In it, she lists the top 20 largest internet companies in the world. Did you know that 4 of the top 10 largest internet companies already are Chinese? And I think there'll be more before too long. Some people think of China as this distant and emerging place, but it's not emerging anymore. And in our industry, it's not distant. The great news for us is that the Chinese middle class is on fire. And we all know when the consumer wants to spend, it creates opportunities for everybody. The American consumer has been a key driver of global economic growth for decades. Now, China's middle class is joining the party. The projections you see suggest that in the next 5 years alone, China's private consumption is going to grow by $2.3 trillion. To put this in perspective, that is like creating a new country the size of Germany in 5 years. Isn't that amazing? And it's great news for us because Chinese consumers love services and products from the West, Western brands. We're all here today to talk about entrepreneurship in the 21st century. I believe that connecting with China is one of the new frontiers of our generation and could present opportunity for everybody in this audience. So let's talk a little about what China's like today. It may not be what you think. China today is a very modern economy. It has undergone a total transformation in the past 25 years. If you think of China as some genteel place, cradled into tranquility by 3,000 years of history and tradition, you're dead wrong. China is modern, tech-savvy, and commercial. In our industry, internet, Chinese founders and entrepreneurs are every bit as aggressive and driven as they are in Silicon Valley. People want to make money. The competition is as fierce as anywhere. Also, China is not a copycat economy. In fact, I would argue that in certain areas like mobile services, China is ahead of the West. I estimate by 3 to 5 years. In mobile internet, China simply leapfrogged the West. Let me give you an example. Have you looked at a website or a Chinese app recently? They look completely different. To us, to most of us, they seem very cluttered, very confusing. In the West, apps are generally designed to do one thing only, with great simplicity. But in China, apps do many things that would not go together in the West. Do you know Momo? Momo is a very successful app in China, generally known in the West as the Tinder of China. Well, recently Momo introduced a new functionality, which is live streaming and has nothing to do with online dating. Users can now watch musicians perform live and interact with them. For example, give them virtual gifts, of course paid for with real money. Somehow, I doubt that we'll see Tinder do anything similar anytime soon. So, I hope this gives you a flavor for some of the differences that exist in the business environment. But we all know that business culture in China can be very different as well. Let me tell you a quick story to illustrate a lesson that I learned about fitting in. Chinese business people spend a lot of time hanging out with each other. I was in a meeting just a few weeks ago, and after a long day, somebody said, let's all go out and get a foot massage together. Now, I can assure you, nobody in Silicon Valley has ever invited me to go get a foot massage after a business meeting. So what's going on? In the US, we have a lot of social trust, which means that we're comfortable working with people even if we don't know them personally. But Chinese business culture is different. Chinese culture is very respectful. When Chinese business people meet with you and don't know you, they're very concerned about not offending you. So the communication can be very subtle, very indirect. And that's why, for Westerners, you can sit in hour-long meetings and have no idea what just happened. The key is to reveal your true self, the real you. And that's why the dinners, the karaoke, or the foot massages are so important. This is when you reveal the true you and when you build trust. And once you build trust, you get the straight answers. Believe me, I work for a Chinese company. My boss, my peers are all Chinese. They can be brutally honest, but only after they've gotten to know you and decided that they like and trust you. Then directness is a compliment because it means you're on their team. So we've talked about how China is quite different from the West. I hope my stories give you some flavor for it. If you wanted to participate, how would you do it? Let me start by acknowledging that doing business with China is difficult. Some people have had bad experiences. And we've all heard about nightmare stories, whether they're true or not. The one thing I know for sure does not work is to follow the conqueror approach. That is when a company puts everything on the field and charges into China like the Light Brigade with all trumps blaring. That does not work. We can have a debate why that's the case, but it would not change the conclusion. The more important question is, what approach does work? I believe the right way to think about doing business with China is to build a bridge. And bridges are built on 4 pillars. The first is about mindset. Instead of having a conqueror approach, think like an explorer. Find the opportunity to add value. Chinese consumers and businesses are incredibly hungry for new ideas, for products and services from the West. Know something they don't. Bring something they lack. Help them connect to the West. The second pillar is about attitude. Travel light. Leave the baggage at home. We all have a tendency to overestimate what we know. It's in human nature. Remember what I said about Momo? I cannot overstate how different consumer preferences and business realities are in China. Please do not assume you know how business works over there. Instead, have the humility and the courage to unlearn what you know. Open yourself up, like I'm doing right now, to market feedback and learn from it. Whatever you're doing in the West will need to change considerably to be successful in China. You may not have expected an investor to talk about bridges today. Perhaps you were thinking he's going to give us some tips about negotiating term sheets or minority protections. But even as an investor, my mission is much less about managing money and terms and much more about helping very different people develop a shared understanding of what is possible. And this brings me to the third pillar, which is about purpose. Bridges need to be built on strong foundations. In business, those foundations are the shared expectations of parties that want to work together. These expectations need to be realistic, and the people who set them need to stand behind them. There can be no misunderstanding. Misunderstandings are like a cancer that corrodes trust. They must be identified and eradicated at all costs, even personal. I feel very accountable to make sure this happens for both sides, which puts me in the awkward position of having to say no all the time, even to my side. No, we cannot ask for more information. No, we definitely should not request this term. And no, we've spent enough time. We need to decide now. My personal reputation is on the line in every conversation I have. On a personal basis, I take the same risk as any entrepreneur or founder I speak with. I hope you get the humor in having a Frenchman tell a room full of Americans how to deal with the Chinese. Actually, my native language is German. One funny thing about me is I have an accent in every language I speak. The Germans think I sound French. The French think I sound German. The Americans really have no idea, just think I sound weird. This brings me to my last pillar, which is about conduct. I grew up in France, but I sounded like a German. I worked in Europe, then immigrated to the US. I spent over a decade in New York at McKinsey and another one at Liberty Media, where John Malone, another iconic entrepreneur, took me under his wing and taught me how to invest, for which I will forever be grateful. But in all of those places, I've always been the outsider. Now, isn't it funny that this amazing Chinese company would pick a person made in France to build and lead its investment organization in the West? Or maybe it's not so funny. Maybe it helps to be an outsider because we behave like a guest. Most of us, when we're a guest, try hard to be on our best behavior. We put away our phone. We pay attention. We make conversation. We're respectful. We offer to carry our plates and to help put away the dishes. Think like an explorer. Travel light. Allow no misunderstandings. And behave like a guest. Those are the pillars on which I build my bridges. Please note, none of those would prevent anyone from being aggressive, driven, bold. For sure, I am here to create change. Also, they apply equally to Americans who want to do business in China and to Chinese who want to do business in the West. Building bridges between the East and the West offers tremendous opportunity, but it's not easy. As Jack Ma says all the time, we have to realize that nothing good can be achieved easily. Today is difficult. Tomorrow will be more difficult. But the day after tomorrow will be beautiful. Thank you.